He's faster, stronger, and way more clutch. Ja Morant is back, and the Grizzlies look unstoppable. But their worst nightmare just came true, and the Grizzlies season may be over. Things just got worse for the Grizzlies. Just when the Memphis Grizzlies were starting to find their rhythm, something happened that literally no one saw coming. The star who had lifted them out of their misery is now out for the rest of the season and will undergo a season-ending shoulder surgery. After missing 25 games to start the season, it seems like this season just wasn't meant for Ja and the Grizzlies. As things were starting to look hopeful, we can only describe what's happened as unfortunate. Surely, even without Ja, you would expect last year's number 2 team in the West to pull together and showcase their depth. Well, the exact opposite happened, and fans have been disappointed since.
Last year, it was whatever expectations. The year prior was something else, and then the year prior was something else. I mean, it's just gonna be what it's gonna be, and then you're gonna play as hard as you can, and things are gonna shape out the way it's supposed to be. But we're just gonna make it about hoops.
What happened to the Grizzlies this season? After making some of the most shocking moves this summer, acquiring players like Marcus Smart, Derrick Rose, and letting go of one of the most hated players in the NBA, the Grizzlies started this season leaving fans baffled with their performance. Surprisingly, removing just one player from the talent-packed team has sent ripples through their lineup, significantly derailing their expected success. Yet, as the season unfolds, the question lingers: will they bounce back? However, the unexpected has unfolded as the team struggled to find their rhythm. Was Ja that good? Were the new acquisitions that bad? Or do the Grizzlies need Dillon Brooks? There's so many different possible explanations for their struggles, but it's clear that the void left by Ja Morant's suspension and potentially the departure of Dillon Brooks is more serious than we thought. As the season goes on, the Grizzlies are facing a big decision. They can either pull their skills together and start winning, or keep being unpredictable. Now, it's no secret that last year, Ja Morant faced some difficult challenges. After leading his team to the 5th best record in the league and losing 4-2, the Lakers in the first round of the playoffs, things weren't looking too good for Ja and the Grizzlies. Attacking minors, threatening mall security, and flashing guns on the internet? This sounds like Ja Morant was having an identity crisis. But is this really something we didn't see coming? True, Ja Morant has been one of the best, electrifying, and charismatic players to watch in the league, and he's only 24. He's also earned himself a spot in the MVP conversation at times, and is a huge reason to the uprise and success of the Memphis Grizzlies, and this year has definitely proved that during his absence. So why would a 24-year-old NBA superstar making $200 million try to throw it all away? Not only were the Grizzlies going to have to do without Ja Morant for 25 games, but they also got rid of one of their best defenders, Dillon Brooks, and their backup point guard, Tyus Jones, arguably the one bringing some of the most intensity to the team. And after losing to the Lakers in the first round, the Grizzlies would release a statement saying that they would not bring back Dillon Brooks under any circumstance. Well, this would backfire on the Grizzlies, as Brooks would end up on the Houston Rockets, where he would be welcomed and become a huge part of the team's recent success. In a recent win against Memphis, Brooks said in an interview, "I don't ever want to lose to Memphis. They made a mistake." And although losing Tyus Jones as their backup point guard, the team would bring in 2 huge vets who seemed destined to add on to the team's overall success. But it certainly wouldn't be smooth sailing right off the bat. Morant's suspension would force the Grizzlies to make adjustments and find new ways to win. This would lead to a breakout season for Desmond Bane, with more offensive responsibility falling on his shoulders, scoring a career-high 49 points against Detroit and 2 more 30-point games in December alone. He's now averaging 24.5 points per game, putting him at 21st in scoring in the entire league. Jaren Jackson Jr. would also emerge as a formidable leader for the Grizzlies, significantly increasing his scoring and rebounding, while advanced metrics like win shares and PER noted improvements. It was clear to see him being more vocal and more intense, trying to keep the team morale high in Ja's absence. Despite their efforts, it just wasn't enough to win. They started the season only winning 2 of their first 10 games. The same team that finished second in the West for the last 2 years. The same team that was supposedly fine in the West. Why did they struggle so bad? Even without Ja, they just added a solid point guard, Marcus Smart, and MVP, Derrick Rose. Well, history would repeat itself and the Grizzlies would succumb to the only thing that has held them back over the last few years. The Grizzlies suffer from injuries, first losing Steven Adams, who had already missed a majority of last season due to injury, Brandon Clark, who suffered an Achilles tear last season, Derrick Rose, prone to injury throughout his career, would deal with left hamstring strains and would also lose Marcus Smart to a left ankle injury. This would leave fans in uncertainty and doubt as they waited for the return of their star player.
Not easy, being out there on the floor and, having to watch. But, with everything else, being around the team, being able to practice, being able to travel, the guys just constantly, talking to me and, vice versa. It's been good.
Ja could only watch, feeling the sting as his team had to endure loss after loss. Yet he would not lose hope as he continued to put in the work, determined to get better and eagerly prepare for his triumphant return. Morant stayed connected with the Grizzlies, practicing and traveling with the team, a lifeline during this turbulent time. The NBA allowed this to keep him on track as he worked with bench players and followed a tailored plan to boost his skills. General manager Zach Kleiman sees it as a positive, saying, "It's great for Ja. He can be with us day to day." Coach Taylor Jenkins has crafted a special plan to push Morant, aiming to unveil the best version of Ja moving forward. Despite the odds, the team would continue to struggle and would finish with a disappointing 6-19 record prior to Ja's return. As Ja continued to get better and prepare for his return, fans and his team were looking forward to his first game back, which would be against the New Orleans Pelicans, who had beat them in the first game of the season. The 20th of December had come, and it couldn't have been a better time to start rewriting his story. With the game about to start, fans were excited to watch Morant's electric playstyle and get what they paid to see, a matchup between two of the most athletic players in the league. It didn't take long for Ja to get back into the groove of things as he started to make an impact right away, working inside, grabbing this board and getting the second chance bucket to start the game, putting on an offensive masterclass, finding his open teammates and giving the wide open looks, flying through the lane, making tough shot after tough shot. Ja had everything going for him in his return. But the Pelicans wouldn't allow his return to be so perfect, and it would be a back and forth battle. Brandon Ingram started the game off looking like prime KD, hitting mid-ranges and coming down the lane, throwing down this crazy dunk over Aldama during a 26-2 run. Things weren't looking too good for Ja and the Grizzlies, down 19 at the half. With Ingram continuing to hit tough shots, including this move, dropping Desmond Bane, and Zion catching high-flying lobs, Ja would have to step up if he didn't want his return to be a disaster. Like always, he wouldn't fail to impress. Ja went off for 27 of his 34 in the second half and was unstoppable in the fourth quarter, hitting his tough layup to give them the lead in the last seconds of the game. Still, the Pelicans wouldn't go away quietly, as they would answer back with a quick bucket to tie the game. With under 10 seconds left to go and the ball in the hands of the only person up to the challenge, Ja drives down the lane and hits a game-winning layup at the buzzer, putting the cherry on top for his big return. This isn't anything new for the star, and he rose to the occasion several times. His clutch ability is just one of the things the Grizzlies have been missing, losing by an average of 13 points in their losses prior. Ja's ability to get into the paint, split defenses, and find open teammates has been a crucial part of the Grizzlies' success. Being able to keep his dribble alive and scan the floor is what makes him a true point guard, and not to forget his amazing ability to finish in any way possible. But this season, he's added what most other players fear. This year, he looks way stronger. Ja Morant's enhanced strength this season has significantly improved his balance, sturdiness, and ability to absorb contact, allowing him to drive through tough defenders and finish at the rim more effectively. His increased physicality helps him maintain control under pressure and exploit gaps in the defense, contributing to a stronger presence on the court. This forces teams to have to constantly think, putting them under more pressure. And the scary thing about Ja is that the way he was already a master at doing that.
Who are the smartest players you played against or played with?
The smartest players I've played against is by far LeBron, Ray John Rondo, and Chris Paul. And who's creeping up into that category is Ja Morant. The thing that excites me most about Ja Morant is when we're playing against the Memphis Grizzlies, and not quite to the level of LeBron James or Chris Paul or Rajon Rondo. But when we're playing against those guys, I can feel the chess match.
Morant's physical growth enhances his individual capabilities, which are critical for winning games. Not only does this make him a better player, it makes the Grizzlies a more versatile and resilient team, especially in close games.
He feels guilt for the Grizzlies' struggles, and he takes full responsibility for their record. But do you think, Perk, that they can get back into the playoff picture or play-in picture with Ja back?
Hell no.
With Morant, the Grizzlies' win rate was approximately 66.7, but in his absence, this dropped to around 25.9. The numbers mean that the team's projected total wins for the season without Morant would be close to just 25, probably still better than the Pistons. That number is unlikely to secure a playoff spot, especially in the competitive Western Conference. The Grizzlies, currently standing at 13 wins and 23 losses, will need to defy the odds and significantly improve their performance in the remaining 46 games. Is it really possible for one player to significantly influence a team's playoff chances? This question has taken on a new dimension with Ja Morant's injury. Before his unfortunate exit, Morant's return had sparked an improvement in the Grizzlies' performance, leading them to a 7-4 record, and provided a glimpse of hope, putting them within just 5 games away from the play-in spot. However, with Morant out for the remainder of the season, they have 46 games left, and probably the more difficult half of the season with tough and important matchups. With multiple games against teams like the Timberwolves, Bucks, Sixers, Nuggets, and the team with the best record in the league, the Celtics, the question is now whether the Grizzlies can gain some momentum from Ja's brief return to push through the adversity. His presence brought back the winning mentality and energy, but his further absence will test their depth and resilience, which will be key if they have any wish to make the playoffs. The playoffs are still within reach, but achieving that goal now depends on the entire roster stepping up and embracing the challenge head on.